I'm not sure where I'm going with this intro, but one thing is sure, or one thing I'm sure of, is what we're gonna do today, which is we're gonna build this little rebel from musikding. It's a kit that you all got to vote on. Some of you might remember this. I made a post where you could vote for what pedal kit I should get, and I got the kit that won, which was the Little Rebel. And now we're finally, after a really long time, I realize, putting it together. And for anyone who's kind of annoyed with me for taking so long, I'm sorry, but I have other things to do, and I want to space videos out, and I want to relax and not stress with anything. I felt a little burned out, I'm not gonna lie, last year, making so many videos, and I just want to make sure I don't, actually stop liking what I'm doing, which is a possibility, we can all change. So, before I get ahead of myself, I just want to say, we're just going to put the kit together, and then we're going to see what happens if we play this as a pedal, basically having it go into another amp, and then we're also going to experiment with having this be its own little amp, because you can actually build an amp out of this. This is an amp. So we're going to experiment with that, and we are going to put some old speakers from the 80s that I have laying around into this. And we're going to turn this into a little amp, basically. So you'll hear both options at the end of this video if you want to skip ahead and listen to that. But we're going to have a montage now of putting this together. And then you can tell me in the comments below if you think I should turn this into a little amp, put cloth around, make it look all nice and pretty, make a panel, or if you think it would be cooler to just have it be a pedal. So, let's go! Woo! So the first thing you need is to print out the papers. Here you can see I have them printed out. We're not gonna go into this at all, but on musikding's website where you buy the kits and where you buy this kit, you will find them. You're also going to need solder, a cleaning station, your soldering iron, and the kit itself, which I have right here. And we open this bag, and in it we'll find other bags. Here is the PCB. Here are the resistors and smaller parts like that, the capacitors, the LED and IC, and a bag of cables. And the last parts in here are the pots that this comes with, and two jacks right here, the DC in, a little switch, and two of these mounting holders, which lets you mount it where you need it. So here we have the first bag. Let's open it up. Here we have the PCB, and written on, you can see all the little things and where they're going to go. For example, here it says R8, and so a resistor is going to go there. And now I'm just going to start off with this bag, because you should start off with the smallest parts. And I'm just going to add all of these into their place. And yeah, we are just going to have some fun putting everything where it needs to go. So, I ran out of memory card, but that's okay. I saw that it happened before I put in the last one. And as you can see, this one is bigger, and you have to bend it over like this. Like so. You can see it, there it is. And put it in to 20 or 28. Hopefully it will go in there. And it does. So I put it in like so, standing up. And hopefully it will look sort of neat once we solder it in place, which we're gonna do now. And you obviously you don't have to make it. You don't have to follow me perfectly, but I'm making it stand up because it will look neater than having it lying down and not fitting. So if you want to like jiggle it in there, you can, but if you want to not have to jiggle, which isn't the thing, you can have it standing like so. It will still work as long as the soldering is good, which it is. And now it's in there. And now we can move on to attaching, where are you? Attaching something else. Which I think, I mean this is bag 2 with the capacitors, but I think we might actually attach the IC sockets next. Just because they are small components too. Okay, so if we look here, this is where this little IC socket that I have right here is going to go in. And pay attention, because one side will have a little notch. And I hope you can see it, it's right there. And you're supposed to put this in with the facing notch in the same direction. So the notch is on this side, and so I'm matching up the notch on this side as well, like so. And that's just because when you go to the actual IC and you're going to put it in, and if we take a look at one of them, you can see, hopefully, that they also have a little notch. So that's just to make sure that everything aligns the correct way. If you're building something and it doesn't seem to work, the first thing to check, just because it's super easy, is making sure that these are aligned the correct way. So you can see some of them have the notch as a little circle on the side. Just keep track of that and you'll be good. And the legs are on the other side here. Hopefully you can see them sticking through. If I wiggle this a little bit, maybe you can see it. You just need to attach them, solder them in place, just like you would anything else. So I almost forgot these little jumpers here. It says J, and that's for jumper, or GP for jumper. I have 1 and 3, and that means there is a 2 somewhere. And maybe I'm blind, but I just don't see it. But I'm gonna look for it a little bit closer. And you just have to take a leg from something. Like for example, once you've soldered the LEDs in place, for example, you can cut off the legs and take one of the legs and put it in place. This is probably a fun place to find some sort of mod or something, but we're not there. So yeah, let's continue. Okay, turns out I'm blind, because there is J2, which is really close. You also have to put one in here and one in here. This is send and return, so this pedal could actually have a send and return. I think that's pretty cool, and we might explore that option. Now, I'm gonna do something that maybe is stupid. I don't know. But it's just, if I wanna maybe change these out, because these are the clipping, and you know, I might want to put bats in here. I usually do, so I'm gonna try to hold these up. I was thinking I would take this little piece of matchstick. I'm putting it in there, I'm pushing these down, and that will elevate them just enough so that if I want to mess around with them, I don't end up with like super short legs on the LEDs, and they are, you know, not usable if I want to put them back. And I'm just gonna bend them out a little bit like so that they don't fall. And now I can at least try. We'll see how it goes, but I can try. And there they are now. And I can try to get that one out, which I made it too long, so I'm gonna have to cut it down. And then I'm supposed to be able to just pull it out like so. This is definitely not necessary, but I like to do it like that because, you know, if I start experimenting, and that's an if, I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but if I start experimenting with this and I want to put them back in, then I can cut the legs flush again and I'll have room for it. Next up is putting some of these wires in place. And we'll start off by taking them out of the bag, and we'll start off with some ground wires, and we're gonna use black for those. I don't actually know how many ground wires we need, but we need one for let's see, we take our papers and we go to the page that shows us the wiring, this page. Wow. And I can tell that we are supposed to have 4, which is exactly how many I took out. That's crazy. Crazy. So we'll start off by putting one here, like so. And then we need one over here as well, like so. And some of you might be thinking right now, you used to always tell us to pre-tin things. Well, I've sort of noticed that pre-tinning these wires that you're poking in is actually, like, it's not really, it doesn't really help you. So poking them in like this, and then just letting it take a little bit longer to solder them in place, I mean, will just be the way we do it. So I'm just gonna try to hold these and solder them in place. Yeah, most of them fell out, but it's okay. I only put them in place to show you. And then I just solder a little bit. Again, I'll go back on these once they're stuck, basically, and I'll just and next up we're supposed to have 2 power, which we're going to do with red, and yeah, one is going to be on the V plus here, and one is going to be on the LED. We just poke them through. We hold them in place. Like so. I don't know if you could see any of that. But if you couldn't, don't worry. These instructions are really well made. So you will not need this video in order to build this kit. So if you are watching this because you think you have to in order to build this, then you can actually stop watching right now. And it will make me sad to see you go, but I understand time is limited and you are late to the show. Next up is doing exactly the same thing again, but we need a green one and a blue one. And we'll have blue be the input and we'll have green be the output. So here's in and here is out over here. And I don't really know why it's named L. Doesn't make much sense to me, because to me speaker starts with an S, but it might be German or something, I don't know. I don't actually speak the language of the lost and forgotten souls of Denmark. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to make this funny. And as you probably can tell, I'm not good at it. I'm just saying weird stuff, hoping that someone would laugh at me saying things that don't make sense. This is basically my humor, saying things that don't make sense. Okay, so the next step is putting in 3 wires here, 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, and 3 there. The reason why is because they are going to go to these pots. And as you can see, they have 3 little legs. So, I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm just going to snap my fingers, and it'll be done. That was a terrible snap. Let me do it again. Ta-da! So, here are all the legs. And it's kind of confusing maybe because there's so many wires. But hopefully it won't be confusing soon. And I color-coded everything because, you know, I always tell you in every video I made to color-code everything. So I felt like I have to do it too. And you might see that I replaced the out because I didn't get enough green wires. So I had to switch it out for a blue and have blue on both in and out. And that way we could have green there. So I have my papers here. And now I'm just gonna see if I can find out somehow which pot here is supposed to go to which set of wires. They all have a number. This is P1, P5, P2, P3, P4. Why that is 5, I don't know. Maybe they felt like it had to be. It could have just been, you know, P2, but they flipped it over there. Anyway, I've pre-tinned the ends of these wires. You can't really tell, but I've done it. And I've also pre-tinned these legs. If you're looking at the same things that I am, you have to go in here to the schematic and look. And you can see right there, for example, that P1, which is gain, which is this one, is supposed to have the 100k. And it's supposed to have the 100k that is labeled with an A, which is this one. And with the board parts facing up, they are supposed to be attached like this. So I'm just gonna put this in here to help me. And then I'm just gonna attach the wire going from one to the other. So take a little bit of solder on our tip, just to help things move along and to keep everything clean. And then the first wire goes in here, and the middle wire goes in here, and the last one, it goes in here. And because everything is already pre-tinned, it all looks really nice, like so. And now I just need to move on to the next one and try to figure out which one that is. Okay, so let's continue now. All the pots are in their place, and we only have 2 more things that we need to connect. And the first thing is we need to attach this one here. And it's gonna be super easy. We're gonna move this away, and we're gonna just add a little bit of solder to this here, and then we're gonna just plop this in here. And I've pre-tinned everything. You just saw me pre-tin this, but I pre-tinned the wire before. And then we need this extra wire that I just pre-tinned as well. And we're gonna attach that too. In a lot of videos where I build these, I use these jacks. And you will... some of you are not using the same things as me. I try to always use the same things, because these jacks are made for fitting in with pedals and things like that. So if you are building something that I'm doing and you're using different parts, I've said these things before, but try to use the same things so it doesn't get too confusing. And then this one gets attached to the middle here. This will be our on-off. Can you even see what I'm doing there? And we'll just put a little bit of tin on so that we can get a nice connection. And then we just need to try and fiddle this in here, which is always a problem. But it's just getting attached to the middle. It's basic switchery that I'm doing, that you all probably already know about. Something like that. That was not very clean. And then this wire here is getting pushed into the other one. And basically that will allow us to turn the power on and off, because basically when it flicked so that these two are connected, then and again, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm pushing this in here as well, and I push them from the same side so that they are away from each other, or at least that's what I'm trying to do, but I'm kind of failing. Anyway, that's going to be good enough for now. I might clean that up because it doesn't look very good later. There we have it. So when it's flicked like so, those two go together, and when it's flicked like that, they're disconnected. And the next thing we need to do is wire up our LED. And this is one of those things where I'm gonna come back later and I'm gonna do this a little bit better and neater and nicer. Get a little bit better once I have decided if this is a pedal or if this is a amp, you know. So the longer leg is the positive. Can you see? They are. And the longer one is the positive, so it's getting attached here to the positive wire here. I'm sorry if everything is sort of out of the picture, but it's just too hard to keep track of everything all the time. And again, I wouldn't have these be this long and everything. I would have everything be shortened and nicer, and, you know, put electrical tape. I might still put some electrical tape here because these are definitely going to dangle around. Not the prettiest, but it will do. And there we have it. I think everything is where it's supposed to be right now. We can plug this in and see what happens, and hopefully everything turns on. Let's flick this. Oh, and some power. And here's the LED, and as you can see, it turns on. And if I flick this, it's still on. No, it died. Oh, it takes a second. So if I turn it on, it's on. And if I flick it off, it slowly dies. And that's because of these, which we're not supposed to touch. So, yeah. Okay, so here's the kit, and here's a bunch of wires going in all directions. It's kind of hard to see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two wires that goes here and these two wires that goes here. And I'm going to plug it up to this thing that if you've been subscribed for a while, seen before. And it's basically just, it will let me use it as a pedal and true bypass it. So we can listen to a guitar amp with it and without it, with just a flick. And that's what we're going to do. And then after that, I'm going to take one of these jacks, and like any other thingamajig, I'm going to wire it up to this input here. On the other side here, I'm going to put on a speaker. We're not going to use this one, so don't worry. I'm just holding this because the bigger speakers are, you know, the big white pillars. I'm not going to hold them up. And one of these, they have a plus and a minus on the back here, you know, the ground and the lead, you know, the speaker. They just look like these. There's a cone, you know. I'm going to put that on the out, just like the pedal thing. And then we're just going to listen to both of them. And you can tell me in the comments below if you think that I should build a amp, if an amp is cooler, or if you think I should make a pedal out of it. I'm personally, at this moment, before listening to anything, leaning more towards an amp because I've done a bunch of pedals. And so maybe that would be cool to, you know, see what happens if I make this into an amp. Could be fun, you know, to build a box, to put cloth around it, make it look nice and neat. And then we'll see. I also forgot, which I'm going to have to do now, that is put in these IC. I knew there was something gnawing at the back of my head that I've forgotten, and that was it. But it's super easy to do. You just plop them into place. And make sure to align them the right way with the little dot or with the little half moon thing, as I said earlier in the video. And yeah, I'm gonna move things around and set everything up now, and we'll jump into listening to what this sounds like a pedal. So, see you in a bit. Thanks so much for watching. I know there's a lot of things I could have done that I didn't do, like plugging in the amp's speaker directly into the new amp and mixing and matching things that way. I didn't go through a bunch of sounds that I could have gone through, you know, moving the pots and things like that, but it's a lot of crackling because everything is loose and dangling, and there's also a lot of noise, so it's not a really good representation of anything anyway. And whatever I do, there's always going to be someone who thinks that I did something wrong or that I missed something. But anyway, let me know in the comments below if you think I should turn this into a pedal or if I should turn this into an amp. I think turning it into an amp personally would be more fun for me to make, but I actually think from a user standpoint, maybe turning this into a pedal with an, you know, send return effect as well, and maybe some other mod things that I can do to this would probably be the better user-friendly thing to have. I already have a lot of amps, so I don't necessarily need any more, but then again I have even more pedals, so that logic, you know, doesn't really follow. But anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think, both of like what you saw in the video, you know, the sounds, things like that, but also, should I turn this into a pedal or should I turn this into an amp? And which one do you think is more fun to see? What would you enjoy? But anyway, that's the end of this video. If you're not subscribed, please press the subscribe button, that helps me out. And if you like the video, please press the like button. Ring the bell for notifications, and you can follow me on Instagram as well if you're building something and you want to talk to me about what it is you're building. Anyway, until next time, don't forget to stay awesome and cool and go and build this little kit. It's a lot of fun, and you know, you can make a pedal out of it, you can make an amp out of it, whichever way you go, you're gonna have fun building it. And that's the most important part. Have fun building things, be creative, and hug your mom.